There we go. Okay, hi everybody. Wow, we've got a whole bunch of countries with us. Netherlands, Germany, Norway, UK, US. Did I miss any? I don't think so. Christine, are you in France? Are you still in France?
Yes, I'm still in France.
Yeah,
Yeah.
France too. There you go. Oh, and Dorian is from the US. She's in Arizona. So yeah, welcome everybody.
Mm.
So this is the art of sourcing visions into the world. So um, a little bit about me, because some of you, this will be your first time of meeting me, I think, for a few of you. So I've been doing this for about 26 years now. I originally, in the early 2000s, wrote a book called The Art of Alchemical Coaching, and it was about transformation. And then that started to grow for me into evolutionary work and sourcing breakthroughs and all kinds of other ways of doing it. So I really love being a visionary, but I also love, I think sourcing takes it to a different level. So let me just explain that for a minute, because I want to talk about what some people might call a different paradigm of this. And I don't know if I'd call it a different paradigm as much as a whole different version of reality of how something occurs. So in a an older way of being a visionary, you would recognize a problem or a challenge, you would get an idea how you might solve or fix that, you'd write a business plan, you'd get a vision in place, and you'd take action and you'd do things. And the way that I work is completely different from that. It's about getting a calling for something. It's getting signals and understanding that something wants to be broken through into a whole new level of possibility. And when that happens, then you're not just following a traditional process. You're actually working in a very different way to kind of get something to come alive and be real in the world. And so sourcing breakthroughs is very different from creating a vision and putting a vision into the world. So I want to talk about how that happens. So I'm going to use an example of a couple of things I've done that would be like that. So way back in, I think it was around 2012, I decided that one of the things that the world could use was the unleashing of genius in every single person, and maybe even more than persons, maybe to all of life. And so I went at it like I knew that genius existed in everyone, but the world didn't talk about it like that in 2012. They recognized genius as prodigies. And so I sat down and wrote a book about it. I did a little bit of research, but I really sat down and let it come through me as to ways in which we could unleash vision in everyone the world over. Now, that might sound to some like a big task. To me, that sounds like that sounds like a great thing to do. Like exciting and fun and collaborative, and you want to get innovative with it, and you want to do things not in the traditional way of doing it. So if I wrote a book, I hosted workshops all over the world, Denmark, Singapore, Australia, US, UK, etc. And coached people in it, did online platforms. I ran a conference in the UK that was called the Genius World Conference. And we had innovators come and talk about how they were innovating brand new social brilliance type things and things like that. And I think today, if you look at it, you would of course say, well, of course everyone has genius in them. Like it's become a kind of like a modality, an understanding in the world that everybody has genius in them. And I don't think the education system's quite caught up yet to that. But there's a lot of people talking about it now and orienting to it. And you can see these new kids coming in are just like that. So you can see that, yes, I did some practical things like workshops, etc. But it's more about sourcing something grander into the world, something new and exciting. So in order to do that, you have to be able to call possibilities in and to innovate newness and unleash your genius and take it into new levels of play. So do you get that? Does that help explain kind of what I'm talking about, this paradigm shift, reality shift of moving from one way of being a visionary to a different way of being a visionary? Does that make sense to everybody? Anybody want to ask me any questions or share anything about it before we keep going? No? Okay. Okay. So I want to talk today about how you get unleash genius, yours and others, how you get into what I call super flow. And super flow is where genius and innovation and ideas just pour through you all the time. And I want to talk about calling possibilities, how you do that, innovating breakthroughs, sourcing reality, how do you source reality? And then I want to talk a little bit about collaborative genius fusion. And it was interesting because last week I went on to ChatGPT and I asked it how it would, envision how we could make the world more wonderful. And one of the terms it came up with, and it said it made it up in the moment, was symphonic visioning, which is a little bit like collaborative genius fusion. So I want to talk about that and how that is, how that works, etc. So before we do any of that, let's all just line up together. Okay, so we're from all over the world. So just take a deep breath. And think of something you love just to like put you in a good space. And then feel your connection to everybody on the call. And I would also say, feel your connection to your own genius, to your own greatness. And then just line up that you're going to get everything you want from this call. Gosh, that feels fantastic. Okay. Yeah, good, huh? Can you feel the difference? When we, before and after we do that, it's like, oh, it's like we become more of a connected collective of players as opposed to people who are on a call and don't know one another. That's part of sourcing for me, is getting everybody to line up, getting everybody in a better space, a higher vibrational space together, and then to be able to come together for something like that. Okay, so I've given you a bit about me. I've given you a bit about what we're going to do. So anybody want to now ask any questions or share anything before I keep going? No? Okay. All right. Genius. Let's talk about it. Okay. Would you all say, you can just nod your head about it if you want, but would you all say your genius is unleashed? Yeah? No?
Sometimes.
Yeah. Mine is pretty much all the time now, I would say. I think if you know me well, you'd probably say, oh, I get that, because I wrote 3 books in the first 3 months of this year. That's one example of how it moves through me. But it's not just that, it's ideas that come, it's insights, it's in what I would call superflow. So, okay, how do you unleash your own genius, and then how do you unleash others? First of all, there's 2 facets to genius. There may be many more, but I'm going to talk about 2 particular ones. There's the natural, innate mastery of genius that lives inside you. It lives inside every single being. And what happens with people is life, schools, teachers, whatever, or somebody says something and we lock it down. That's normal in life. And then as you go through life, you kind of realize, oh no, this is what I love, this is what I do, and it starts to open up. So what you've done is you've opened up where the genius lives, which is more like here, like this way. And then there's the genius that lives here in the space around us. And that, to me, this genius is where the superflow comes from for me. It's like when I connect this genius with this genius and I let them come together, then I put my own flavor to the genius that's waiting to come through. So when I talk about writing books, I've written 20 books already. I would say most of those books were kind of waiting to be written in some way, but when they come through me, they come through as me, as my way I'd write it. So if the same thing wanted to be written by somebody else, it would come through differently. It wouldn't come through identically, if you see what I mean. You put your own genius to the flow of genius coming through, and then it becomes yours. So how do you open up your own genius? Well, you kind of, in a way, you kind of have to be willing to go what I call wild open. Like, be willing to let what's inside you come out and find expression. And for some people in life, that's tricky or scary or makes them vulnerable, or what are people going to think? And I think I've stopped caring about what people think. When I think a lot of people have recently, kind of, it's like this and this coming through is more important. It's something new that wants to come into the world. And when you let that move through you, it's a really exciting way to be in yourself. It gives you joy, it gives you vitality, it gives you life and excitement and efficiency and productivity and all of that. And before you know it, you switch into what I call superflow. And the superflow is what I was talking about. Like it just does this with me. It's just always there. I don't have to do anything anymore to go get it. Whereas before I think in the early stages, I was like, okay, I'll connect the genius and I'll bring it on through. I'll see what wants to happen through me and I'll pull it through. But now it's just this flow that moves through me. And anyone can do that. It is not particular to any one person. It's a state of creativity, you could say, but it's more than just creativity, because it's almost like, let's call it the universe just for fun. The universe wants us to bring brilliant things, brilliant, new, exciting things into the creation. And when you make a relationship with that, then the genius moves through you. Okay, so you want to play with it and try it just as an experience? Because I like to do experiential stuff as opposed to just talking about it. So, okay, so just close your eyes for a minute. Take a deep breath. Think of something you love. Let it like light you up. And then just let that beautiful genius mastery that's inside you, that's unique to you, like nobody else is like that. Nobody else has the genius you have. And let it just kind of come out to play. And then you connect it with the greater genius flow of life, the universe, whatever you want to call it. And you put those two together and you feel the flow of it moving through you. And what might happen is you might get ideas, you might get pictures, you might get a sense of something, but just see if new ideas just pop up for you. Okay. All right. So anybody want to share what did you get any feeling of that or any sense of the flow, or did you get new ideas from it as we were doing it?
I got some information coming through because I think I've been concerned a little bit and hesitant about going to the next phase of my work, because it's big and it's helping astronauts to learn how to communicate telepathically with the spaceships.
Ooh.
And I was thinking, I don't know if I'm ready to do this one on my own, because I've been on my own most of my life doing things. And this time I was thinking, yeah, maybe I need a co-pilot, like a man, a nice partner. I thought it might be nice. And they just came in, they just said, you'll meet him through that work. So I went, well, okay, handled, that's handled. So now I don't feel that, And also I feel you're always protected and, protected and something or other. Guided, always guided and always protected. So that's
Yeah.
really nice. And for me, what you're saying about connecting to the bigger flow, for me, it's almost as if we have that shell around us. But
Yeah.
when we actually agree, because it's a free will planet, we agree to just surrender it and surrender, our will, hearts, minds, and soul to the greater, whether you call it God or genius or flow. That's pretty much all it takes. So you're just saying, I'm allowing this now. I'm allowing myself to connect with the greater self and the
Yeah.
all that is.
Yeah, one of the things I've discovered, because there was a point in the mid 1990s where I was hugely empathic and I'm really struggling energetically to even be in the world kind of thing.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've discovered is I went way past that. I've evolved it into a different state completely. But this is not a vulnerable state.
No.
This is a high vitality, high vibe, super creational, ultra dynamic, exciting state to live in. Literally, it's not something I just tap every once in a while. It's you live in this state, and then it's like you have a partner. I mean, you have many partners and many collaborators, but you have a partner in some way with something greater, and it brings things to you.
Mm.
And I love what you were talking about, the astronauts and the spaceships,
Yeah,
which
I've
just some
always
people could sound crazy, but to me, it's the invisible world has a dynamism to it that's extraordinary. And when you learn to tap that invisible world, then you have a whole other toolkit, a really practical toolkit available to you to get things done in the world. It's completely different approach to things. So yeah, beautiful. Good luck. May
When
that
I
go brilliantly.
So Laura, when I was 5, the first lesson they told us in my little Catholic school was that there's God the Father, God the Son, and Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit is in everything. And to me, that just made total sense. And to me, I just feel that once you're connected to spirit or your greater self, you can be connected to anything.
Yeah.
And I think that what people are struggling to explain as consciousness now is simply Holy Spirit.
Yeah,
That's,
it
that
can have
makes sense
many names
to
and
me.
many ways of looking
Yeah.
at it. I'm not, it's in a relationship with, you could say the quantum fields, you could say the invisible, you could say consciousness, you could say life, you could say the universe. It could be called many, many facets. And maybe those are different things, but to me, when you have a relationship with something greater,
Mm.
it elevates your life. It elevates the way in which you work. It elevates the way you bring things into being in a completely different way. And that's what I wanted to talk about here. So thanks, Star. That's brilliant. Yeah. Anybody else? One other person want to share? If not, that's okay. Yeah, good. Okay. Okay. I don't want to just stay with genius. I want to also talk about calling possibilities, calling newness present. Because when I was talking about it existing in a paradigm in which, well, you see a problem and you figure out an idea to fix it, right? Or to solve it. But this is very different. This is more like what wants to happen now? So I host a group we're called the Murmuration of Maestros, which several of the people on here are in. I think 4 or 5 of us are in that group. And we never start by knowing what we're going to do, ever. We start by going, okay, let's line up, let's connect. What wants to happen now? And we connect and we call our genius, we call the bigger movement of whatever wants to happen. And then we all share what we get, and then we do it again, and we share what we get, and we do it again, and we share what we get. And by the time we've hit, by the end of an hour call, normally we would have brought a brand new breakthrough for the world through. And it's collaborative fusion is what we're doing. So it's not one person has an idea and then we do that. Although we can do that too, if we want to. We can line up with someone as the center point of focus and then do that with them. But it's more about what wants to happen through us. So when you're looking at calling possibilities, I used to talk about it as the quantum field, or whatever we want to call that space, which holds the possibility of brand new concepts, ideas that have maybe never been thought of. And to me, that's like so exciting. Like that's where it's like, well, what wants to happen through that? And then you connect with it and you call that which wants to happen through you present in you. It might show up energetically. It might show up as words. It might show up as a picture. It might show up in different, you might not even know what it is at first. Because sometimes I'll call it and I'll have some vague impressions of what it is and what it wants me to do. But then the next day I'll be in the shower, I'll be out for a walk, and boom, there'll be like, hit me like a ton of bricks, and I'll have it. And the idea then fleshes out and fully forms. You probably all had moments like that, right? Where something comes and you don't quite know what it is, and then boom, it takes shape. Yeah? Can I just see how many of you have had that experience? Oh yeah, very cool. Yeah. Yeah, loads of you. Yeah. That's you and whatever you call this partnering to bring something new into the world. Now, it's good to call it the quantum field if you want, because you can see it as a space in which ideas and genius and innovation are waiting for us. Not just what we can think or feel in ourselves, but something grander, a bigger picture of creation. And especially if you're into turning the future of the world out, which there's a lot of stuff to do about that, right? There's a lot of things. If you try to do it inside an existing paradigm of the way systems work today, it's a little bit like trying to push an elephant up a hill, because you're inside the system trying to deal with the system. And if instead you come out of that paradigm or out of that consciousness or out of that energetic space, and instead you source a space of newness for the visions you're bringing through, the newness you're bringing through, the possibilities you're bringing through, it then comes into that space that you're sourcing, and then you find ways then to realize it. That might be writing a book, it might be running a webinar, it might be teaching a course, it might be doing something else altogether. But it's a completely different way to do it than as if you're trying to fix something inside an existing system. Yeah, you with me? Okay, good. Because I have coached for years coaches and trainers who've been working with corporations. Do any of you work with corporate type stuff? Yeah, yeah, Christine doesn't know. Yeah. And it's challenging to work inside the existing system, and there's beautiful people doing beautiful work. And what I've seen with most of the people I've coached who are in that arena is that those people they're coaching get it, but then they go off and do something else. As opposed to the culture change work, a lot of them are going, whoa, that's really hard. It's hard. It's been hard to get that to work. So if you wanted to get business to change, let's say, if that was your vision, mission, etc., right? Then doing it inside the existing system to improve something is a hard job. But if you create something brand new and bring it into being, and then invite people into that newness, it changes the dynamics of it. Okay? I don't know if I've still got you all with me on that or not. Do I? Is you all with me for it? Yeah, yeah. Anybody want to ask anything about that just for a minute? So I'll give you another experience of it in a sec. So anybody? No? Okay. Okay. Okay, take something, you may already have a vision. If you don't already have a vision for something new and exciting in the world, then just make one up. Pick anything you want that you'd love to see made wonderful in the world. Okay? Okay, and again, close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Think of something you love, because you always have to raise your vibration. You have to come into a bigger, greater space. Okay, now, if you were going to try and slot that vision into the existing system, that's one way of doing it. But if instead, now you're going to become sources. So you're about to source the space for your vision to come alive in the world. And I'm talking world stuff. I'm not talking like, in front of you. I'm talking like you are sourcing the space in the world for your vision to come to life. And then you give it life, breathe life into it. Make your vision a partner to you. And then see it growing, see it going into the world, see it calling all the right people that you need, that are resonant with it, that might help you with it, or that might pick it up and do their part in it. All the right players. And then just for fun, I want you to ask your vision what one innovative idea, exciting new innovative breakthrough idea it could give you that would help you put this vision into the world, and see what you get. Okay. All right. That felt really fabulous. Energy just gets buzzing when we do this kind of stuff. So I'd love a couple of people to share if you got any interesting insights through that.
I would love to share.
Yeah, go for it, Annette.
You. I've been playing with it for the last 4 years, that nature wants to come back online and really be listened to from humanity. All the kingdoms that we are relearning as a humanity to listen to them, all the nature kingdoms and the elements, because we are a part of nature.
Yeah.
And by doing this, we can take care of nature, for nature to take care of us again. And also for us to connect with our super intelligence and our source consciousness and our specific gifts that are unique for everyone and all. And since the Future Makers, this is very connected also with very tangible physical projects in the Netherlands, with artwork being inspired with being inspired from nature, and people are showing up and places are showing up. The universe is talking to me that it will take care of the marketing, a thing that I could never do very strongly, and it feels super simple now.
Yeah.
And I'm just more strong with this call. And at the same time, I'm in the Gambia as well with the nature project, which is a lot about letting go of the poverty paradigm that's there, not tapping into this one, being aware of it, but not going by it, and inviting the super intelligence as well. And there the trees are showing up literally and tell me what I have to do. So it's literally the trees and the flowers and the water telling me what to do and what is the next step. I'm used to this. I did it for 12 years, but I often let myself be taken out by others for being afraid of being a fool, which I'm not a fool. I'm very mystical, but I've been very laughed at my whole life by some people, and this is dissolving rapidly now. So this is amazing.
Found the
also
right
the Future
folks to
Makers.
hang with. Brilliant. I love
Absolutely, and they're coming through every day. I have to readjust every time again, because they sometimes want to pull me into the old paradigm, which is another kind of play. And I feel I'm getting very much universally immune to the old system, and they have to align with the new. Otherwise they cannot come. And sometimes it means that I have to stop and wait for them to come, and sometimes I can run forward very fast.
Yeah.
So it's really amazing. So thank you for bringing this together. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, anybody else want to share what you got? Yeah, Madeline, go for it.
Unless anyone else wants to share, anyone
No,
new?
go for it. Yeah, go for it.
Yes, I was thinking about health in the world, and you know, the health condition that is affecting a lot of people, and I was reminded of the blue scorpion immunity. I was directed towards frequency medicine because I think that there's a tremendous hope in the world through frequency medicine, because it's so reproducible so cheaply through technology. And then I was reminded of this blue scorpion immunity application that I have, which I've been using to very interesting effect. So I guess I was just thinking it'd be really good to sort of, you know, do my bit in spreading the word on that, because it has such powerful effects. It's a supplement that people travel from all around the world to go to Cuba to get for cancer, and it seems to have very powerful cancer healing effects. So I know there are lots of things, but you can basically access this supplement, which is reputedly the most expensive supplement in the world, at $37 million a gallon, because as you can imagine, harvesting blue scorpion venom is a little bit tricky. I don't quite know how they do it, whether they're prodding it or whether they're harvesting them or something. But a chap that I know has basically taken the energetic blueprint of it, put it into an app which you can multiply many times over, and
interesting.
then so people have access to this extraordinary substance which has 39 amino acids and lots of vitamins and minerals. All I know is that when I take it, things happen that I know it's boosting my immune system. So yeah, and I gave a talk on subtle energy recently, and people were very interested in what I was sharing. So
Fantastic.
that
Yeah.
felt like something I'd like to do.
Good stuff. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so I would love to show you something. So I'd like to take somebody who hasn't been on calls with us before, so you know, one of you is relatively new, and have us tell you have you tell us what your vision is and see how it feels when a collective aligns with you to source ideas and innovation for your vision. So do any of new folks want to do want to be the one to do that?
I'll take a step at it.
Yay, David.
I've
Okay. Bravo.
been excitable person most of my life, and found a way in sharing that through a magazine that I started about skiing. And but I'm always just wanted to light the fire of as many people as I can. And now I've stepped away from that a little bit, but I still want to light the fire. And yesterday I went to church, and I can't decide whether to go to nature or go to church. And yesterday, interesting minister, a visitor, said, you know, let's make this more fun. And he said, does anybody know the 11th commandment? And he says, no one knew. Well, it's fun. And so the whole service was about fun. And you had a visionary astrophysicist talk about the next dimension out there. And anyway, he brought in a balloon about his height. And after this little presentation on the planets and everything, I cut the balloon. I snuck up and cut the balloon, and it went to the top of this cathedral, and kind of woke it up. And I've just been thinking, if I could leave something awake, some like a flick against the head, you know, a memory that they won't forget. Most sermons ever, or speeches or whatever, are gone. They come in, they're great, and then you forget. But if I'm kind of, one of my goals is to make an impression that won't go away. They'll remember. Usually it's pretty crazy, but at least hopefully it leads them to open up. And so I guess my vision is continuing to do that, and more of a something enlightening for people to
Yeah, got it. Yeah.
look at life a little differently.
Yeah. And you're probably in a whole bunch of us. I asked my Maestros group about a month or two ago, how many of them were in the middle of moving into a new phase of everything. Like almost 100% of them stuck up their hands. Then we were all, there was some sort of completion going on with one phase of our lives, work, creation, visions, and stepping into something next, new that didn't have clarity yet. Have any of you had that feeling this year of that happening for you? Yeah, look at that. Yeah, it's really interesting. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time, and sometimes it just pops through, but we're almost like in a kind of rhythm of something new pouring through. So, okay, David, so we're going to line up with you. However, everybody heard that. I think we got it. And we're going to line up with you for you being that in the world. Okay? And then we might get ideas that we'll share with you, or you just enjoy the experience, basically. And if any new ideas come to you, great, but you just enjoy the experience and see what it feels like when we line up with you to give that life and give that presence and give that ideas and genius. Okay? Here we go. You ready? Everybody just, if you haven't done this before, just see what it feels like as we do it and feel how we'll get them to share afterwards. Okay, David, here we go. All right. Okay. David, how did that feel? Did you feel any different?
Oh, yes.
What happened?
Well, if all of us as a group thinking on the same page, I think, about how to follow our lead or inspiration.
Yeah.
So much more powerful as a group.
Yeah, it changes the dynamics of the field that you are, right?
Mhm.
I don't know if you would have said it that way, but that's how I experience it. It puts zhuzh into the field of you.
Mhm.
That's a way to talk about it. It like puts a dynamism
Exactly.
into place. And you feel that dynamism when we do that. It's like, boom, you become a focal point for something really excitingly moving. So
Mhm.
I'll tell you what I got. So I saw this picture of these they were like white binoculars, but they were like laser eyes. You had laser eyes and you see things differently than what others see things. You have insight, like you have laser insights into what's happening. And I was like, whoa, okay, that's like your genius almost, or one of your facets of genius. Does that make fit for you?
Mhm.
Yeah. And then I was like, well, how would he bring that into the world? Give me some ideas of how he'd make that real in the world in a way that also matches your lifestyle, which is you have a great lifestyle. And Sheila and David are married and they go on wonderful trips around the world and they do fun things and they have great local people and they do all kinds of stuff. So you don't want to like start a business and be working all the time. And that's not what you want, I would assume, right? So, and then I heard I could see you doing a podcast with really cool people. And it didn't have to follow a theme other than it was called something like Insights. It was just like really cool people who think and see things differently. That's what I
Okay.
got as an idea. I
Mhm.
just, you don't have to do it. I just pass it on for what it's worth. If it resonates, great. If it doesn't, it's okay. But I noticed Julia was nodding her head when I said that. Julia, what'd you get?
I actually got something very similar, and it came language, and I said, what about language? And it's about communication, and I got turn it on its the way that you're communicating and using language now is not working for what you want to do. It needs turning on its head. Your communication, your usage of language needs to change. I'm not sure how, but that's what I got. So a bit similar to Solera's, but particularly the language that you're using. I don't mean use a foreign language. I mean the way that you're using it.
Very cool. It could be a paradigm shift or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else? Let's get a couple
Yeah.
people to share what you got for him because we'll throw lots of ideas your way. Who else?
I got something also to do with voice and language. And it was to do with clarity and clarifying of your voice, and your physical voice, and also how you use your voice and whose voice you're choosing to represent, so that it's a question of there's your expression and your gift and the best way to use it. And I think, you know, Solera's gift of podcast is perfect, because you can play with that and practice, and also having lots of really cool people to talk to. And then came listening. So it would be for you to tune in to the universe, to the greater power that's behind what's coming through you, and to find the very best way to express that, so that you are not only supported by a group of people, but that the group of people to whom you're speaking are really truly hearing you and listening, and listening to understand rather than listening to respond. So that was what came for me.
Fantastic. Thanks. Yeah. Anybody else? Other
Yeah.
new ideas? Yeah, go for it.
I would like to add another layer, which is all the same story, but another layer. I felt the body would love to have an upgrade into crystal consciousness, or Christ consciousness, if you will, to really be in tune with the earth consciousness that is having just had an upgrade of a new webbing of frequencies that is around and into the earth of the high frequencies of the Christ consciousness, so you will, or Christian consciousness, to be in tune with. And from there, your voice will be clear, and you will be heard with clear ears as well. So you can ask your body to be upgraded into the Christ consciousness. This is what I heard.
Okay. Thanks on that. Yeah. Anybody else? Sheila, did you get anything for him? You know him well. So did you get anything new for him?
Yeah, I got an expansion. I mean, David has a huge heart, and he's you know, and people love him. And I got an expansion of that, just more and more energy around that. And I just also wanted to say your thing about the white binoculars. He has a character that he plays in regard to skiing in Powder magazine, and that's he was Captain Powder, and Captain Powder had these white binoculars.
No.
And there's actually a movie made, and at the end of the white binoculars, there's this thing going on in the binoculars that was exactly what you were talking about.
That's what it looked like. It just looked like white binocular with laser eyes coming through them. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's so amazing.
They were eyeballs, actually.
But you know, you're a natural born leader, and a great leader, like good with people. They love you. They will follow you naturally, and I can tell you want to inspire them into a kind of like new ways to see things. I don't want to say new thought or new thinking. It's way past that. It's like wild stuff, you know, like just ways to be able to look at life in exciting, innovative new ways of just opening up the door of how people could see things. Does that make sense to you?
Completely. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really exciting. It's like quite amazing. So yeah, brilliant. Yeah. Anything you want to say after we did that with you?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, well, no, you hit the nail on the head there. Just turn me on and let me loose and bring the people in to go crazy.
Yeah. 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 I think that, no, thank you, David. That was wonderful to be able to do that with you. It was really exciting. And one of the things that I and all the folks I work with, we're not looking to fix problems. We're looking to innovate breakthroughs and newness in the world. And that's a whole different switch of how things occur inside that. So you're using what I would call the invisible forces in life, which is intelligence, genius, connection, consciousness, etc. There's, beingness, emotive power, etc. Those are invisible things. But when you use them in this new, exciting, dynamic, super genius way, it's a whole different way of bringing what you want to see in the world present. And it's really an exciting way to do it. And when I'm doing this, if you notice, I'll just give you how I do this. So when I was being with David, I was like, hello, wonderful being. Like I kind of was like, I wasn't coming in at him like, oh, he's a person with a history. I was like, wow, who are you? Surprise and amaze me. And it's a different state of connection than if you come to someone about, oh, there's a person with life and history and experience and learning and, jobs and all of that. So your whole focus is broader, more expansive, more dynamic, a little bit higher vibration when you're looking at it. And it's quite amazing when you do that. And I think, David, you want to bring new ideas into the world, new thinking, new possibilities. And that's so exciting. I'm like, wow, go for it. So can we just, for fun, just energize that for David in however he does that, however he wants to inspire the world to, I'm going to say to newness, but you might say it differently. Let's just give him one last energetic boost. Okay. Here we go, David.
I'm just trying to inspire myself, and hopefully everyone will jump in.
Okay. So we're just going to give you like, boom, we're going to see you fulfilling that vision. Okay. Here we go. Okay. Oh, David, I could see on your face something was happening. What happened for you?
I'm just expanding what I'm thinking about, trying to make every day more expanding, keep on growing and climbing. Been a climber all my life, and so the higher you get, the higher you get. It's just
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, beautiful. That was great. And I could see this expression went on your face. It was like, wow, like it was really beautiful. I loved it. Yeah, fantastic. Okay, so what you just saw us do was a slight version of collaborative genius fusion, except we took it as a focus on a single person with a single being with, possibility in life. When we're doing collaborative genius fusion together to bring newness into the world, in fact, I think we've got a few minutes, we've got about 4 minutes left. So why don't we just do that? Just some of you are already used to doing that with us, so we'll just do it. Like call whatever wants to happen brilliantly, newly, as a breakthrough, as a something brilliant for the world into place. And we will line up and we'll each do it in our own unique ways. I'm not going to direct it. We'll just see what happens when we do it. Okay, here we go. Okay. Oh God, that was so beautiful. It almost brought me to tears. And it was funny because I'll just let myself go when we go into this, and I could feel the collective moving, the energy moving. And I was drawn towards Star, actually. And then because she was talking about astronauts talking to spaceships as sentient, right? And if we treated everything, if we had a relationship with everything as sentient, intelligent, water, nature, animals, homes, computers, cars, whatever, life, the universe, if we had relationships with them as respectful, sentient, intelligent beings, and a partnership, and something we've been at work on in the Maestros group for quite a while, and you can see that it's emerging in the world in different ways at the moment. But it was so beautiful. It just like surged into place for the world to recognize the ability to access partnership and relationship and genius and from everything and everywhere. It was just beautiful. So anybody else want to share either what you got or how that experience was for you if you haven't done that before?
If you don't mind me speaking again.
No, go for it.
I just received, you must give them hope, because it said you have the power to help them with the radiation sickness, because pilots who have been picking up the downed UFOs have got really bad sickness from the radiation. I've known how to sort that out since 1997. So it is about bringing hope to people who at the moment don't have any.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, and you can see, you'll know from your own experience that each one of us would do something completely unique. And there's no direction. Like it's not do this, go there, and you follow that. It's like you unleash your genius, you bring it into this co-creative space. And then what happens in that co-creative space, when all these different facets come in, they weave into one another. And what pops out of it is this incredible sense of cohesive newness. Like they merge in some way and collaboratively. And it's so different from if you were in a business meeting and they were green lighting ideas and you put a whole bunch up on the board and you might use one or two, right? It's so different from that. It's like every contribution is hugely meaningful and a part of the greater creation. And it's how that coalesces and then how you bring that together that's quite extraordinary. So if you have a vision, and what you do is you create resonant people who love your vision. You're the source. You're the one who's sourcing it. And then you get them to do what we just did, which is collaboratively genius fuse it into something greater, something more wonderful. And but you're still the source. You use what you get from that to take it into reality in the world. I don't know if that makes total sense to you've never heard that before, but we've done it so much and it's so extraordinary when you do it like that, that when you watch this fusion happen, because we just got to do it once, and in the Maestro group we do it 3 or 4 times on a call, and all of a sudden poof, out pops this wonderful thing that's, if you saw it as the original pieces of genius and ideas, it would look like a whole bunch of great ideas. But when you put it into this fusion, it becomes something greater and grander than itself. It's quite extraordinary to do that. So I recommend you find resonant players. They don't have to be employees. They don't have to be partners. They could just, they're resonant people who resonate with you to help you dynamically create ideas and actuality for your visions. So, yeah. Okay. Yep. Anybody want to add anything before we go? Yeah, Lynn.
I'm sort of sensing that to me, it's not so easy to call resonant people as much as I call in the resonance in the universe around me or in everything that is reflecting back to me. But it doesn't have to be people because I don't feel safe with people most of the time.
Yeah, that's why it has to be resonant people.
Yeah.
Yes, I get that. I understand that. Yeah. Because if you get non-resonant people,
No
what
good.
you get is stuff that doesn't fit,
Yeah.
doesn't gel.
But I think what I've discovered is that if I can include them as part of something that is a greater whole,
Yes.
that shifts everything.
Yes. That's being a source. So if anybody has to drop off because we're on the just past the hour, go for it. But I just want to explain what a source is because it's so different from being a leader. A leader in the old paradigm way is at the top of a hierarchical thing and has to tell people where to go and what to do and needs strategic skills and people skills, etc. But a source is completely different. A source kind of stands in the center of everything and creates and sources the space, the reality in which everyone is a contributor. Everyone is a strategist, everyone is an innovator, everyone is a genius creator. And a source then operates in a completely different way from how a traditional leader would work. And you kind of invent exciting new ways of going forward with things. It's really quite exciting to move from being a leader to being a source. So there you go. I just wanted to add that. So yeah, I noticed Sharon's nodding away. Sharon, do you want to say anything about that?
Yes, you described it so beautifully. And for me, it's just a beingness and in fact you could be with people and not even say anything.
Yes.
But it's a presence, it's energetic,
Yes.
and that it's liberating people to their own genius.
Yes. You actually can call that genius out of other people in the space you've created. It's not just, a lot of people talk about holding a safe space. This isn't that. This is way past that. This is creating a space where genius is kind of a natural, exciting playground.
Yeah.
And it just kind of naturally shows up in the space that you create. So it's got a different dynamic to it than holding a safe space or.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exciting. Yeah, Julia.
When we all joined together before, I saw a huge circle. We were in, each one of us was inside the circle, and we were all moving the circle with our own genius. So as the circle moved, it became slightly distorted, but it always ended up getting bigger and the bigger circle. And we were, each one of us was moving the circle outwards to enable more to come in. And we were doing it in our own way.
Yes.
But because we were it was just because we all knew it was the circle was getting bigger, and as it got bigger, more was flowing into it. And even if it became slightly distorted, it was still this circle that everything was flowing into it, and it just became massive, and it was brilliant.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, you become a collective,
Mm.
and it doesn't, as a collective, especially a resonant collective, because it doesn't have to be everybody. Do you know what I mean? The resonance is hugely important with all of this. If you, especially in the early phases of getting something new to come into the world, whether that's a real business starting or whether it's a new vision finding its place, if you try and do it with non-resonant players, it gets challenging. So it's really key to call resonant players to you. And they show up. It's really quite amazing how they show up. out of the blue. You'll meet people by the weirdest circumstances, and it's really exciting. And notice Paul was shaking his head. Yes,
Yeah.
on that one too. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it, Paul? Yeah, yeah, it's quite
Yeah.
brilliant. Go for it. Yeah, you're going to say
Could I
something?
add a little bit?
Oh, Paul, you're on mute.
Yeah. No, there we go.
Yeah.
No, it's
Oh,
funny.
that's
It's, everything's resonant, very resonant today, about calling stuff in. I mean, I found myself in the last year in the middle of launching 3 businesses and being part of a new movement of right thinking to replace political systems. And it's all coming from the quantum layer. It's all coming in. This is, these are companies I would have thought I'd be involved with.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating, and it's beautiful. I've studied for years the works of Walter Russell. I don't know if people here are familiar with him, but he's one of the greatest polymaths of the last 100 years, and he worked beautifully in this way. I mean, the descriptions here, and he had this saying of mediocrity is self-inflicted, genius is self-bestowed.
Yeah, it's true. It's a connected state. And I think that a lot of people, the normal people in life, walk around somewhat disconnected and trying to protect themselves, whereas instead this I call it wild open state, wildly connected, is such a brilliant state. It gives you the ideas, the vitality, the innovation, the power, the new idea, all of it. It's just so exciting to be able to live in that. And Centaur is my husband, so he's on the call somewhere. There he is. And we live in that state. That's how we live our lives. It's how we run the business. It's how we do what we do in the world. It's exciting to be able to do that. So, yeah, wonderful. Okay, yeah, Doriana, go for it.
Okay, so in my present state of reaching out for quantum health and beauty and teaching that, from today, what I got was reaching out through my quantum light body to other people's light bodies to resonate and have them teach us how to be in our new quantum light bodies. So that was really cool.
Fantastic. I just want to say to you, because I've known Doriana since 1995 or 4, right?
Yeah.
We lived together in a house in Atlanta, Georgia in 1995. Right? And was part of the Maestros group for quite a long time. And it was interesting, Doriana, because she's been working on youthening and not aging in the traditional way. And we were talking the other day in the Maestros group, and most of us I would say we range between 40, 45 and 75 or up. And none of us look a day older than we did 20 years ago. So I think I can thank you for some of that. I just wanted to pass that on to you because, it's living in this way. Like I'm 70, I turned 75 2 months ago. And I don't feel 75 and I don't act 75 and I hope I don't look 75. I'm full of life and vitality and well-being. It's quite exciting to live in this way. It has lots of side benefits.
I
to
know,
it.
right?
Yeah.
I turned 81 this year. So
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. Wow. Congratulations.
So
You
we're
are a
doing
great
it.
example of it. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just say this was an intro call for I'm going to start a membership group starting in May on visionary sources. And so I'll be doing one call a month where I talk specifically in detail and we learn and do experiential learning on how these things work. So it's on my website, soleragreen.com, and then you go to the membership group page and you'll find the details there. And if you can't find it, just message me in whatever way you want to. I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, Solera Green. There's really only one of me.
You said that.
There's nobody else with that name that I know of. So yeah, you can find me easily and just ask me about it if you need to. But it'd be great to have any and all of you want to play in that. So let me know if you do. So it's been fabulous. Thank you, thank you, thank you for playing
Thank you.
like this. I've really loved doing it with you all. So may all your visions come into the world with grace and genius and greatness attached to them. So lots of love, everybody. Have a good
Bye.
one.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.